What are the non-obvious signs of a smart person? Nuance in their understanding of things. Yep, smart people rarely make big absolute statements about anything. When someone is explaining a concept, and they occasionally use hedging language like, with some exceptions, or mostly true, or in general, that's a good sign. They acknowledge areas where they lack knowledge. Sort of the exact opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Never pretend to know something when you don't, is something I always teach. Covers lying and ignorance. Talking to a dumb person will make you feel smart. Talking to a smart person will make you feel dumb. Talking to a very smart person will make you feel smart. I'm a just kinda smart person and I know exactly what you mean. I've met people that have truly blown my mind, just made me say, damn, I never thought of it that way, and I didn't feel any dumber for it. I authentically felt like these people gave me a new perspective. The ability to do that, give new and different perspectives, is truly rare and the mark of a thinker. If you are the smartest person in a room, you are in the wrong room. They tend to be, at least in my experience, more open to criticism or being shown facts that change their opinions on things. I don't know if that really falls under smart, or more of a wise trait. I'd say wise, but often those who are wise are smart, just not the other way around due to people being arrogant. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Being able to acknowledge when they're wrong. This and also being able to admit, I don't know. Or simply being quiet when they don't know something, as opposed to trying to sound smart in spite of their ignorance. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt. The smartest people know how much they don't know. One of the great challenges in life is knowing enough to think you're right but not enough to know you're wrong. Neil deGrasse. Pattern recognition. Part of the reason smart people throughout history are well known is because they discovered something new and figured out how to maximize its potential. Darwin was a guy who discovered a bunch of islands with slightly different animals. He then collected and analyzed that data to come up with the theory of evolution, which was largely correct. Einstein's theory of relativity was based off of his observation that physics acted on everything equally. He figured out that exceptions were because of the way high-speed objects interact with the universe's speed limit, the speed of light. He recognized these exceptions by gathering them and recognizing the pattern between them all, then created his theory of relativity based on that. I'd say that the faster and or deeper a person can recognize patterns, the smarter they are. Larger dendrites in the frontal and temporal lobes. Yup, that's pretty non-fucking obvious. The problem with the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence. Charles Bukowski. Admitting when they're wrong, updating their opinions, beliefs when presented with proper evidence. I don't know about this one. Met plenty of smart people in my life, many of them unable to admit they're wrong. You can be extremely smart and an enormous asshole. In fact, the two coincide often. The ability to see both sides of the coin rather than just one side. I think this is true. I also think highly intelligent people consider more outcome scenarios in just about every activity. So do highly anxious people. They realize not everyone is smart the same way. Your stupid hick neighbor might have dropped out of school in 8th grade, but he can drive your car once and tell you exactly what's wrong, then fix it. That asshole in school that had no empathy for anyone and showed no emotion made that sci-fi shit you thought would never be real. Yeah, she's dingy and her worldview is tiny, but she's the best teacher you've ever met and inspires tons of kids to go on and do great things with themselves. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here really. I use this analogy regularly with my high school students. I have college degrees and am relatively intelligent in some ways. My brother is a brilliant mechanic. When my car breaks down on the side of the road, I call him to come fix it. Which one of us is the smart one? I feel like I can't think of an answer for this one without immediately thinking of multiple contradictory examples. I've spent my entire adult life in academia, and there really isn't a unifying characteristic of all of the highly successful people I have met. I suppose if I were trying to get a sense of someone in an interview setting, I would look for evidence of active listening and ability to ask critical questions on the fly. That said, I know some pretty smart people who are perpetually distracted listeners. I think that's because our definition of smart is so nebulous. Is being smart about knowing lots of things? Is it about being a good learner or a quick learner? Do smart people have innate talent? Or have they worked for years to achieve their success? Is having academic intelligence smart? What about emotional intelligence? You might call someone who can memorize things quickly smart, but you'd also call someone who can work out problems quickly smart. It's smart to take a long time to figure out a clever solution to the same problem. Does studying make you smart? Take 2 straight-A students. One studies for hours, and the other is able to pick up subject material quickly in class with little supplemental work. Which one is smarter? I think smart is a catch-all word for describing a lot of different mental states and dispositions, but especially during grade school, it's reduced down to certain kinds of success. This, distracted listening, is actually a common phenomenon amongst intelligent people. I've heard that it has something to do with them knowing where the conversation is going before you get there. They're already formulating the response. Don't get caught up in unnecessary arguments. I have found that this comes to a certain point, when another person is not able to process something and therefore stays with his opinion. After a few tries, the smart person just gives up. There is no use in trying to make someone understand something while they already have an uneducated opinion. They'll listen to the other's facts and points and take them into account when giving an objection. They know how to explain concepts on just about any level, tailoring that level to their intended audience, and without coming across as condescending in any way. This is the sign of a good teacher, not a smart person. They're not the same thing. I have had brilliant professors who were pioneers in their field, but couldn't explain anything for shit. Sure, they were smart, but taking their classes sucked ass. The condescending part is more personality-based, but you quickly find out how well you actually know something when you try to explain it simply to someone else. Non-obvious sign. I would have to say emotional intelligence. Most people picture a smart person being like the typical movies nerd that is really smart at everything except social interactions or flirting, but that's not the case. Really smart people can also pick up on social cues faster and better than regular people. Take Richard Feynman for example. He was really smart but was also very sociable. They're happy to be wrong about something, and then will take the time to learn about the subject. The same will go for politics. Rather than just dismissing the other person's opinion, they'll take the time to understand it. They walk a lot, I've noticed. Stephen Hawking would like to know your location. They know when to talk and when to listen. Not constantly bragging about their intelligence. If they truly are smart, people can figure that out pretty quickly without them doing anything to show it. Smart, knows the answers, is interested in new things, understands ideas and is receptive, copies things ideas accurately, highly intelligent, never stops questioning everything, is highly curious, not just interested, and is very good in abstract thinking, is highly critical of him or herself and others and is intense, creates new things ideas, etc. When both my girls were young, I would tell them, when you get older, you're going to reach an age where you get stupid. It happens to everyone, to some extent. When they're in high school, you and your friends will do dumb things that are unsafe or that you'll later regret doing. The thing is, because you've turned stupid, you won't realize it and you'll think that people trying to help you avoid obvious mistakes are, in fact, the dumb ones. You won't listen and you won't learn from others. If you watch your friends, you'll see some of them go through this change starting around 8th grade. Eventually you and your friends will grow out of it. We all do, typically when you're in your early 20s. One day, when my older daughter was a freshman in high school, she came home and said to me, "Dad, you were right, some of my friends really have gotten stupid. They do some really dumb stuff and won't listen when I try to help them." To her credit, she applies herself and is one of the most responsible kids I've ever seen. What are the non-obvious signs of a smart person? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.